This is Lenny Reese. It's Sunday, October 19th, 2008, at the Ina Levine Jewish Community Campus. As part of the Arizona Memories Project, we are talking to Larry Cutler, whose family has a long and very impressive connection here. So, Larry, we're going to start by asking you to share memories or stories about how, when, and why your family came to Arizona.
Sure. Actually, my grandparents, my father's parents, Harry and Minnie Cutler, came to Scottsdale in 1942. They moved from Chicago, and I think they were semi-retiring, but they bought some land in the Arcadia neighborhood, some citrus land, and they became Jewish farmers. They started Cutler orchards, and they sold grapefruit, oranges, kumquats, limes, lemons, you name it, even dates. They had date palms, and I remember as a little boy, even before I moved back to Scottsdale, visiting my grandparents in their home, which is the current address is 6231 East Exeter Boulevard in Scottsdale, but at the time they lived there, their address was Box 310, Route 1, Scottsdale, Arizona. And at that time, I was told that when they moved, the population was supposed to be about 750 people in Scottsdale, but my grandparents always said that that was an inflated estimate to try to get more people to move there. So they moved, and besides packaging fruit and sending it back east and other places, they also rented a little fruit stand on what is now Thomas Road and around 36th Street, and every day they would bring boxes of fruit to the side of the road and sell fruit, oranges, grapefruits on the side of the road.
Your memories then when you arrived in Arizona?
I was born in Santa Monica, California, but when I was 6 years old in 1958, my family moved out. My father was embarking on a new career as a developer and general contractor, and he actually he did a little building in Los Angeles, but thought that things were starting to move in Phoenix, and that he would be the beginning of the building boom, and built houses and apartments all over the Phoenix area. He also subdivided later the land in the Arcadia area and built a lot of custom homes there. So we moved in 1958 to Scottsdale.
As you grew a little older, how did you connect with the Jewish community?
I think in second grade or first grade, I started in the early 60s in religious school at Temple Beth Israel, which at that time was on 10th Avenue in Osborne. I remember Rabbi Plotkin. Rabbi Plotkin is quite a short man, and I remember when I used to look up to him literally and not figuratively because I was a little boy, and Rabbi Plotkin was there. I grew up in Temple Beth Israel. I was consecrated, bar mitzvahed, confirmed. I later went on to teach Hebrew school for the temple. I was firmly entrenched in Temple Beth Israel. I was the president of the youth group, BIDI, at that time, which stands for Beth Israel Temple Youth. At that time, we had about 150 members, which was quite large at that time. So I later went on to be on the board of directors for 6 years, Temple Beth Israel. And it was at a young age that they asked me to come on the board of directors. So I did about everything. I was the chairman of the religious school board besides teaching at Temple Beth Israel. So I kind of got my start in Judaism at Temple Beth Israel. And of course, my parents, my mother, Judaism was very important, especially to my mother.
The Cutler name is really very high profile in Phoenix, and I want you to share with us the reason why.
Well, you know, my parents were always very civic-minded. My mother worked very hard. In your interview, I heard you talking about you joined a Hadassah group, which is a Jewish service organization. My mother was the founder and first president of a Hadassah group called Tamar Hadassah. You may remember it. She was also a docent at the Phoenix Art Museum, and she did all sorts of things for the community and for the Jewish community. I could go on and on. She was on the board of directors of Hillel. She was on the board of directors of the Jewish Community Center, and she was a tireless volunteer for the Jewish community. My father was a developer, and although he wasn't very religious, he did a lot of things for people silently. My parents always said, you shouldn't talk about the acts of kindness or charity that you give, or else, and what you do for people, or else it isn't a good deed. But certainly he provided jobs, temporary work for thousands of people as a developer and builder, building literally over 1,000 residences, apartments, and homes in the valley that people are still living in today. I named the Cutler Plotkin Jewish Heritage Center after my parents when I was president of the Jewish Historical Society. Unfortunately, we couldn't even pay our rent. Our budget was almost non-existent. We closed the office during the summer for the 3 months to save on rent. But it was important to me and other people that we save the only historic structure, or only building that's of historical value to the Jews in Phoenix, the original Temple Beth Israel, which was built in 1921. What's important to me too is that it was not only a place for Jews and the first meeting place for Jews when there were only 125 Jews in the valley, but later it was a Chinese Christian church, and after that a Mexican Baptist church. And I was instrumental in helping to obtain it and to make it full circle into the Jewish community. And so I named it the Cutler Plotkin Jewish Heritage Center in memory of my parents, James and Betty Cutler, and also Rabbi Plotkin, who's still alive and who's a landmark here in the Phoenix area.
And what are we looking for in the future with the Cutler Plotkin Heritage Center?
It's on the. It currently was voted to be a Phoenix Point of Pride, and the ideas for it is we want it to be important to both the Jewish and non-Jewish community. We want to teach young Jews all of the things that their ancestors and the Jews in the past have done for the state of Arizona since territorial times, to make Arizona a better place for everyone to live. And not only that, but to let the non-Jewish community know that everything that Jews have done to make Arizona a better place and for everyone, and to preserve to preserve oral histories just like we're doing today.
And before we close, I want to ask your lovely wife.
Okay. Go ahead.
Lovely wife, Randy, to just join you, because I know she's an inspiration for all
Yes, she is.
You do.
She is. We met here at the Jewish Community Center in a speed dating thing about 3 years ago. So,
well, thank you both so much for sharing.
Okay, thank you.
It was a real treat. Thank you so much.